Welcome to Chapter 3 of the Leadership Excellence book, Proven Strategies for Elevating Employee Performance and Success. This is all about coaching and training, and some of you might be sitting there going, this is basic. We had this discussion in Chapter 2. Basic is what this is all about. Simple, straightforward, don't overwhelm, make sure they're fully trained, get people on the right track. We have too many instances that I've found in industry that a person is thrown in the famous training method of sink or swim, which is ridiculous. Okay. Oh, they'll pick it up from other employees. Yeah, you're right. They will pick it up. They'll pick up all the bad habits. Okay. This is simple. It is straightforward. And if you understand how to train, and you know how to set expectations, you are well on your way of being an effective leader. Hey, let's take a look at this. Here we are in the flow chart right here, coaching and training. Remember, I talked about these being twin sisters. We're trying to get people competent so we can then see if they meet the standards and obviously go over here to earn praise. So that's where we are in the process. We're early on. We're in the formative steps of the PMP. This is so important. With these two topics, expectations and training, everything rests upon them. If you do these effectively, everything else gets a lot easier. Okay, let's talk about twin sisters again, very briefly. You set expectations and you train, and many times you're going to find that you're having an expectation setting meeting just before you sit down and train the person. Okay, so they're twin sisters. They really go together. You're verifying and making sure the person is fully trained and fully competent in meeting the expectation you just set. All right, let's take a look at this. The secret to effective training. And again, it goes back to simplicity. Every action you take when you train somebody, whether it's on a computer and click this and click that and move this and move that, or when you're working with an object such as press this, turn this, lift this, etc. Every one of those words is an action word. Every action equals a single step. If you can grasp this concept without combining steps and having too much in one step where it becomes confusing, you will be well on your way of being a very effective trainer. And again, you might be thinking this is simple. Of course it is. But we're not doing it. My experience of almost 4 decades is we're not doing this. We're not sitting down with people and training them on the front end, setting expectations and training them. Some of the best companies I've worked with, and I've worked with award-winning companies, take this extraordinarily seriously. Everybody, it doesn't matter if you're let's take a car dealership, a detailer who cleans the cars, or the F&I person, the finance and insurance person. All right. Everybody gets trained starting with the basics. Well, you can't assume anything. You can't assume people know better. You have to assume it's up to you to set expectations and train them. Now, with people who are highly competent and very, very talented and very mature in their jobs, easy peasy. All right, I'm talking about people who have been there a long time, like an F&I manager in an automobile dealership. All right, but you still have to set expectations and train to those expectations and ensure they understand how to meet them. All right, every action equals one step. If there's more than one action, then break it down into more than one step. Confusion comes when the steps are either missed because we forgot one because we didn't lay it out in front of us and go through it very methodically, or there's more than one action at a time. All right, taking the time to be crystal clear up front stops other problems in the future. Okay, so again, the key to training is simplicity. One action, one step. And you might have a boatload of steps, but the beautiful thing is they're all listed out. I want you to think about the time you bought something, and I won't say what companies, but we all know who they are, that have terrible instructions when it comes to a lot of their products. And you're looking at it going, how did you get from here to there? And then you find out later on that they had actually flipped over the item to access the bottom, for example. And you're sitting there scratching your head because the camera angle in the view is horrible. The picture's horrible. Or it might even be just a lousy drawing. And you're like, how did it get there? And you're scratching your head and you're beating yourself up. And then you finally figure it out. They forgot to tell you, now flip it over. And if you think that's a small matter, I want you to think back to the day you tried to put that sucker together, and it was so maddening because you couldn't figure out how they jumped from one step to the next. That's why you do it. Okay, let's go through the steps. You're seeing some familiar words here. For example, explain the constructive purpose. Again, people make an assumption when they're called into the principal's office or the boss wants to talk to them that they're in trouble. The whole purpose of this is to make it crystal clear, this is why we're here. Joe, I'd like to help train you in this. My constructive purpose is to get you up to speed so you can meet the expectations and meet the 95% efficiency rating. All right? Who doesn't want that? Who's not willing to take that kind of help? Why? Because you state it right up front what your constructive purpose is. So this is so important. When you get to your what will you say for script, all right, you'll notice it says explain your constructive purpose. You better be using the words my constructive purpose is. Unless you got some better words that calm the employee and put them at ease, can't think of other words that are better. And you go, well, but Mick, it's kind of awkward. I get it. Everything at first is awkward. Change is difficult. Change is awkward. But after a while, you get so used to it that you'll do this automatically, and you'll do it in conversations outside of the performance management process. You'll be talking to people and you'll be saying, well, let me share something with you. My constructive purpose is. And then you see them physically relax. Okay. Now, the next one is demonstrate how the task should be performed step by step. We talked about getting the steps. One action equals one step. Seek out and then answer employee questions. So you show them, okay, and then you answer questions. Now, if it gets long, all right, if you've got several steps, maybe you got a dozen steps, maybe you got 18 steps. I don't know. I don't know what the process is that you're doing, but you might have a number of steps. Stop at 1/3, 1/4, 1/2 of the way and seek out and answer their questions. Say, Joe, what kinds of questions do you have? Don't say, Joe, do you have any questions? The answer is going to be no, because that's a closed-ended question and people always go, nope. All right. Maybe not always, but you get the idea. When you say, what kinds of questions do you have? You're saying, I really want to know what you're thinking. All right. Then you have the employee demonstrate the steps. Explaining, and this is such an important part of this step, explaining each one and then give feedback on how they performed. So let them teach you. You may have heard the term teach to learn. That's what this step is all about. They're now teaching you, explaining what they're doing, and then you're able to give them feedback on how they're doing. Now, you may have to go through steps 2, 3, and 4 several times. You may have to circle back. All right. You may have to go back to 2 and do it again and seek out and answer their questions and then have them do it. That's okay, especially when you get complicated stuff. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care how competent you are. We are all subject to this. There are things that I do. It's like, oh, I don't understand. Can we go through this again? All right. There's no loss of pride in that. In fact, the real pride is you can humble yourself and admit that, hey, I want to get this right. This matters, and I'm not catching on, and I want to make sure I understand. That's valuable. Okay, now let's say it's gone well, and they've demonstrated it, and you're happy, and you're going, okay, I've trained them well enough. It looks clearly like they're going to be able to meet the expectation I set previously in another meeting. Then you set a time to review progress. Here's my rule of thumb. Sooner, not later. Okay? I'll come back in 2 weeks. Excuse me, you're going to allow 2 weeks of errors? Excuse me, hours, not days, many times. Come back, review how they're doing, If nothing else, it's a chance for you to see that they're doing a good job, they're meeting expectations, and you can give them a pat on the back. Earned praise, which is another topic that's coming up. Okay, let's bring it down to the bottom line. It starts with you taking the time to analyze the task and break it down into the simplest possible steps. One action, one step. All right, when I look at what people write in for their scripts, I need to see one word: press, turn, lift, turn on, turn off, etc. All those action words. One per step. If you have press and lift, that's 2 actions, 2 steps. They need to be separated. Why? Simplicity. So I can use it like a checklist and go boom, boom, boom. And I'm not going to miss anything. I want to end this with you remembering something. Remember the last time, and I talked about this earlier, that you were working on something and they missed steps and didn't tell you that they turned the object over or they moved it or changed perspective or whatever. And you sat there scratching your head. That's why this is so important. If you can get this idea of one action equals one step, you're going to be a good trainer. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this. Hager out. Thank you.